last time, did we?
Yes, we did. When it was still possible to have a coffee together. Good.
So, hello everyone. Welcome back to the first panel discussion of this afternoon from this PPM summit. So, I have two very experienced speakers who are joining me, and I'm so happy they have been in the past conferences, and we know each other. And let me introduce you the speakers. So we have already had Martine Mazzetti in the last session, so I'll just introduce her again. So Martine can be called an experienced drug developer after 3 decades in pharma, has been part of more than 200 molecules development. She is having a good number of patients who have been benefited by these, and these products have been successful in the market. She has worked for several companies like Baxter, Nestle, Roche, AstraZeneca, and much more in departments like regulatory affairs and project and portfolio leadership roles. And currently she is head of project leadership at VectivBio. So welcome, Martine. Again, I will introduce the second speaker, Elvira Molitor. Elvira is an executive consultant and coach with Syngenta Foundation for Sustainable Agriculture. She is linking strategy to the investment, building the portfolio in the non-profit context, and establishing a portfolio office and supporting the change journey. So I'm so glad to have such experienced speakers with me, and we will move to the discussion on evolution of projects. Well, this is the first session in the afternoon, so I will start straight away with the first question. So what changes in project technology and project methodology you can see over the period of last years have the most or strongest impact on successful delivery of projects? Elvira, will you start sharing your ideas?
Thank you, Mita, for the introduction. And I think I'm lucky here to go first because I think the obvious enrichment of project management in the last years has been the influence from the agile movement. So basically the agile philosophy being absorbed by project management. I think that has helped us to reinforce this element of prioritization. So they do that very ruthlessly, should I say, in agile at the beginning of each project when they prioritize their Kanban board. And that philosophy has helped. Also, the very strong message that comes from the agile movement is that the sponsor needs to be involved. And I also saw that as a very important enrichment. And then the third point came from there is this appreciation of adaptation and change versus trying to be very predictive of the future, plan yourself to death, and then every deviation from the plan is going to be judged to be a failure. So that is how I see the changes in the project over the last years, the most relevant ones from my side.
I absolutely love the ideas, and especially like your caption, plan yourself to death. I absolutely agree. And it has been so much counterproductive, this idea in so many project contexts. And also the agile movement. I like also this idea that sponsors should be actively involved. Although I do see that it has not been really adapted in a lot of contexts where the sponsors who are more, we can say, the product owner has to take a lot of active participation in the agile projects, but they are often replaced by pseudo product owners who are doing the job on behalf of the sponsor himself. And so finally, I think there are some project organizations who are trying to find a way to deviate and recreate the same problems which happen in traditional projects, where sponsor is very high up in the hierarchy, doesn't have the time, and delegates everything, but without the authority or the power to decide, which finally comes up as a huge risk for the project. Martine, will you like to add your ideas to this question?
Yeah, I think the profession changed fundamentally the last couple of years. And as Elvira said, agility, Scrum, and all new methodology were a big part of it. But where I saw the biggest difference is that as we move to more kind of system and tools who allows you one source of the truth, I think we could unburden the project manager from what I hated most in this job, which is the data reconciliation meetings, when you have 5 people coming with the same information, but it looks different, it feels different, and it tastes different. So you spend an hour time just to understand what you have. So I think we all in the industry did a tremendous great job in moving away, at least as fast as possible, from that. So with that, it frees up resources and brains in project management to do things which we love to do, which is team management, strategic thinking, and moving the projects forward to the benefits. So the why part of the project and the how part is a little bit easy. It's not as easy as we would like to have. So I think that's one thing which changed the profession. The other thing who changed the profession, as you said, is the recognition that project management is a valuable function and can optimize a project. So it's not an administrative function. So I think a lot of stakeholders are getting to a better space. And to come to your point, Mitham, about the sponsor, I think, yeah, I agree. We have seen sponsors on paper, then you just feed them as everybody else, and then you manage them, but they are not very useful. I think for me, I prefer the term project champion when I speak about a project. I think in the past organization, I was always looking for somebody who is high enough in the hierarchy to influence governance, but is still in a place where he is interested in real work, not only political work, and who falls in love into your project. So he has a really, really, really good reason to sponsor you, is that the fact that he's a nominated sponsor. So where I have seen sponsorship going well is when you're not getting a sponsor assigned, but as a project, you're looking for the right sponsor and you convince him in the right place in the organization to help you.
Absolutely love the idea of having a project champion. And yes, I would so much want this to have such persons in each project organization. And I have so many examples of projects which did not do well, which had severe problems due to post acquisition restructuring, and especially problems from the parent company that was selling the entity to another company, but the sponsor was always there, and that made all the difference. And absolutely agree to your ideas. So let's move to the next question. With new ways of working, how will the execution of projects be different? Elvira?
Yeah, that is when I think about that question, you can look at that in two ways, because where people, when I talked about how the agile movement has influenced project management, I don't think that is so much a tool aspect or a process aspect. The influence from the agile movement I see more at the approach level, at the strategic level, at the level of understanding the philosophy, if you wish. Now, in areas where people did interpret project management in a good way before, for example, everything you said about sponsorship, Mitra, that is not rocket science. So I'm pretty sure there were pockets where people were already doing that, and now there is a reconfirmation that is right. So maybe there are areas where things don't shift so much, with the exception that you feel more encouraged and the movement gives you positive affirmation. Again, coming back to my earlier point, then where I see where it has changed most is when in areas where project management was interpreted, and this one person actually said that to me when he referred to project management as the execution dictatorship through the project manager, with a false promise that the project is able to control and predict future, when it has shifted to a more I would say, realistic and adaptive situation where the project manager, and I think I'm repeating what Martine said before, when the project manager then interprets his role as a catalyst and the person who makes sure that all of the connections are made and helps people to ask the right question at the right depth.
Absolutely agree, Elvira, and really like this idea of project management being the execution and dictatorship by the project manager. Very, very well worded, it really makes you imagine what kind of political context it could get in. Martine, would you like to add your ideas?
Yeah, I think to build on Elvira's idea, I think one thing I hated most is when management was expecting me or my team to be policing and being the little voice in their ear saying, oh, something go wrong, I have to do something. I think that's just undermines any credibility you have in a team, and I think undermines the trust you need to build in the project here. So I'm happy things are moving a little bit away from it, but sometimes there's still a kind of one or two persons in the organization who would love to be the first to hear, even the project team doesn't have had proper discussion on any issue. In terms of where the organization of project management goes, I think we all think, facilitation, mentorship, that's where we want to be. I think one thing I tend to say to my project teams is, sometimes people think that a project plan is a future, and I think there's some very big misconception. I think for me, the project plan is an illustration or a visualization of what the team or the organization thinks today, what the future shall be. And if you have a launch date, and we all have been beaten by that, it's the best assumption you have with the information you have today. It's by far not the launch date you will have. So I think Agile helped to get a bit of kind of meat into that, saying that but it's still there. People want to have a project plan on the wall, and then you have the bars, the links, the critical paths, and you say, yes, if we make that, we will get that at the end. And the iteration and the discussion is what we need today in a very changing world, which we had discussed a couple of hours before.
Yeah, thank you, Martine, and I absolutely agree. So many positive changes coming up, and especially I really like the idea of new ways of leading the teams and new models of leadership which are coming up also. They're being more and more embraced by the project manager. So the more the role of really a manager, project manager, is more becoming of a facilitation role rather than just a command and control role. And I think this is a major difference. And I think we more are moving to a more meaningful project management, where we are all looking and searching for a meaning in our lives, and each team member is doing so. And I think it's extremely important for the project leader to really align these values, the hierarchy of values, which is coming into place when people are trying to be engaged and motivated on contributing towards the project. So with that, we move to the next question. So can you share your experience with projects involving technology rollouts? So this time I'll begin with Martine.
Good. Yeah. We're doing a bit of ping pong. So once you start, Elvira, so sometimes I start. So if we speak about rollout of technology, I think, yeah, everybody remembers tools like, or still has tools like Planisware, whatever variation of vendor you have, where you have a project management tool who goes above Microsoft Project. And I think the one thing I learned over the rollout, and I spoke about that before, is tools in our world tend to do millions of things, and we tend to want maybe 10 or 50 things out of them. And if I speak about rollout of tools, I think the design phase with the tool owner is very important to agree on what do you want from a tool, what is the output, what is the input, how it's used. And then you go back and see how much you need from that massive packet of possibilities. And then you reduce it further. And if you want to have a successful rollout, you said it before, Mitom, you include the stakeholders, the users, so they know and they are part of the solution. And you spend enough time in training before you roll out. And I think one mistake I have seen in training is that you do it 6 months before you roll out, and then you ask people when you roll out to remember what you have told them 6 months ago, which of course even I couldn't remember. So I think that's things which I think if any tool you do want to implement in your organization, you need to focus on.
Absolutely agree. And I can just add to it that according to a lot of industry surveys, on an average, between 60 and 65%, that is the number of functionalities of average number of tools which are not used. So just imagine you're buying a PPM tool and you're using only 30 or 35, 35 or 40% of the functionalities, and you are a lot of times buying a PPM tool which is very complex, and perhaps you have no need. And this is, I find it again and again, project organizations where they have so much of complicated data that the project manager just takes a few days every week to make sense of what he's following up, and the whole reporting load is consuming most of his time. So yeah, Elvira, you want to add something to this idea? You're sorry, you're muted.
Here you go. Yeah, here it is.
Okay, perfect.
There have been so many keywords now that could be good ones to start building upon. I think you talked about the amount of data that we sometimes collect that nobody knows what to do with. So that has triggered a thought in me, and I would like to share that with the audience. Maybe you find that interesting. That I'm currently working with this nonprofit portfolio, and every time I do that, I issue a strategy paper on how we do this. And I've listed the principles. And one of our principles is we collect all the data we need, but no more. And I have a little table where for each and every data point that we collect, we explain why that data point is collected and what we are going to do with it and what decision it is going to drive.
Great.
So that deviates a little bit from the topic, right? That was just based on the comment you made.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we lost Martine, but let's continue. I think she'll connect back. In the meantime, perhaps by the time she connects, I can take up an audience question. The first one comes from Vikas. So with more and more projects moving from traditional waterfall to agile methodologies, how do you see the future of project management, especially in the ongoing COVID pandemic and the post-COVID era?
Also personally, I had when I began to immerse myself in all these agile things and movement, I had personally, like, I don't know, 2 days of a shock moment where I thought, oh my God, what is this going to do to project management? We are now 2 years down the road, and I'm an agile fan, and I think it's one of the best things that could have happened to the project management how you call that, discipline, because it goes back to our principles, to the true principles anyway, that go beyond and above the formalities. And it will help project managers, and I've explained before why. And I don't think I'm now that I've studied SAFe and other methods in the agile framework, I am 100% convinced, and most experts in the field would agree with me, that the role of the project manager will survive. You may want to call it something different to make a point, but basically what we do, bringing people together for a purpose, helping them to have cross-functional discussions, prioritizing the work, agreeing what needs to be done, what doesn't have to be done. Also look at the risk that I sometimes don't see in the agile methods. Talk to the stakeholders and make that link to portfolio management are for sure activities. Taking care of the team, understanding and linking to strategy. I don't think that these roles or these activities will ever go away, whatever the job title of the person is who does.
Thank you so much. I just heard from Martine. She has some connection issues. So yeah, I absolutely like the way you explain how the role of project management project manager will survive. And I'm also very optimistic about this and very aligned. I also think that there will be more hybrid models which will come up. So it says we are already seeing more and more models of agile for portfolio which are coming up, like the Scrum of Scrums, disciplined agile. So I think they have to make. I mean, more. They have to get more dynamism in the project management space in different industries. So I think there are a few industries who are more adept at applying them, and not everyone. So I think we need more examples of successful implementation, and then we can learn more, and we can really find more different ideas of mixing different methodologies at the portfolio level, and find the best customization for a specific business environment. So I think it's a good sandbox at the moment. We have a lot of things being tried out, a lot of ceremonies in the project agile project world which are being tried out. Some of the ceremonies are working well with certain cultures or certain types of teams. So I think it's a very interesting space to observe. I will take up another audience question, which comes from Mike. How to best scope a PPM tool for the scope, scale of organization. Too many organizations seem to hope that an expert enterprise system will work before the behaviors and PM skills are in place.
I think that is, I couldn't agree more. And I think many people on the call will have seen that, this hope that buying a new tool is going to resolve all the issues you are having with culture, with discipline, not understanding what data you actually want and why you are using them. And I think I could add more. And I agree with the person who asked. I think you implicitly also express an opinion here that the tool is not going to be the resolution. And I couldn't agree more. I think a professional organization that acts with the right philosophy and has a good strategy could achieve more without a portfolio tool than an organization who lacks the right spirit with a tool. I'm
Absolutely.
Currently, I'm actually currently building a portfolio tool in a very interesting way. I don't know whether people on the call know this software Smartsheet, which is a very flexible connection or connected. It's a set of connected sheets and dashboards. And at the portfolio level, I'm currently using that to build technology as we go, because this is maybe super agile without me calling it like that, because that allows us to experiment and learn and build something without actually already buying a tool. And I did something similar in a previous role. Whenever before we added a module to our PPM tool, we tried it out in Excel so that we were clear about the attributes. We were clear about what we wanted, why we wanted it, and we had already a feel what it did for us. And only then we integrated the learning in the tool. And I found that a very good way to engage to stakeholder and also to find out when I was wrong. Sometimes I was wrong, and I prefer to learn that on the Excel sheet rather than after I had purchased an expensive implementation.
Absolutely agree, Elvira. And I can add that what I do along with my team, we always start with training and mentoring the teams first on some basic processes, set up the basic processes and the behaviors that we expect around the project first. And then we create a kind of sandbox, which is more try out. So don't put too much strict rules on the tool, something which is in between the future tool and the current state of project management. And then you slowly scale it up through a pilot project to the enterprise level. So always go step by step. We have more audience questions coming up, but I will go next to our prepared question. I think we did talk a little bit about it, but what tools are enabling this change in projects? So agile software, automation, technology implementation, visualization.
Yeah, I mean, this is a question for our whole conference, should I say? Because it depends, again, what do you want to achieve? I think all of you have seen this Trello, the Microsoft Planner, these collaboration tools that allow us to look at a Kanban board together and shift stuff around, collaborate in times of where we cannot be in a conference room together. So there is a whole raft of tools coming along that help us to share our plans, which are very good. Then I said before, I think Smartsheet is a very good way also to build something relatively fast and share data with a big community. Transparency, dashboards, single source of truth, I think are enormous enablers for project and portfolio management. And then, but again, below the line, what stays is that the famous fool doesn't become a hero if he has a tool in hand.
Great. And from Janet, but I just read from her that it has been partially answered. But yeah, I would like to add, her question was about a best PM tool for small organization with no PM. So I think, yes, it would be, there are lots of possibilities, but my suggestion would be not to begin with a very complicated, very hardcore tool, because you have to know what you really need from your tool, what you expect from your project management, and that needs to, you need some experience before moving to a very professional tool. Otherwise, you get lost in the tool itself. So that is not the objective. We have one more audience question from Misan. How can we deal with challenges along the project cycles while maintaining the speed of transformation at all times?
That is a big question. I'm afraid there is no one sentence answer to that. The start to the answer is probably the question. And that is an awareness that in the projects, we need to juggle those two extremes. Sometimes management's expectation and desire that the project plan is actually an exact prediction of the future. And on the other hand, the reality of the world that presents us with changes in an ever bigger speed. And therefore, the project needs to do its best to juggle both extremes. Sometimes, probably, it is more important, and you would not make changes because you need to hit that timeline. We are like, I don't know, 6 months into a launch, and we cannot afford to deviate too much. But there are other periods where the change can be embraced without deviating from the original assumptions too much. What I also always do is that I keep a list of all the assumptions with the team so that we can at least stay on top of the change, so that we don't forget what we said we thought our base case was at a certain time. So this list of assumptions is, for me, a very good tool not to get lost in the change and not be overwhelmed, and also explain the change, because you can say, at the time we promised this, the assumptions were that, now that has to change, and that makes it a little bit more rational.
Thank you so much, Elvira, for your answer. So we will move now to the last question of the last of the prepared questions. So how are organizations getting involved in different kinds of cooperation to manage projects, including open innovation and cooperation, data sharing, networking?
Again, a big question. I can probably tell you a little story here. I had the privilege to work on a co-development of 2 companies on bringing a new active ingredient to the market. And one of the 2 key enablers there was a good contract, because the fact that the contract was really well thought through and thought out, and was done very professionally, really helped us later, because then the project team didn't have to fight for things actually that should have been sorted out at a different place. We also had an excellent intercompany governance board that worked together very, very productively and professionally, and that helped us really. And they also accepted that they would be how you call that? They would be the referee, and we wouldn't have to deal with all the conflicts. They would take on some of these conflicts so that we could focus on delivery. And that was really important. In the second of those, we learned, and the project team became part of the team that was developing the contract. That was a big learning as well, because in the first instance we learned that some of the things that we endured in the project execution could have been considered at the beginning and in the contract. So the second experience was even better. I would always suggest a good contract, the project manager and project team involved in the contract as much as possible, and a senior team of both parties with taking a real interest in the project and helping us, and then also making it clear to the project team what are the non-negotiables, because that has been agreed between the two mother companies or the parties that come together, and where is there room for maneuver where the project team can become really creative and add value.
Absolutely agree, Elvira. And all I can add is that don't forget that transformation is very, very human. It's not only at the system level or at the machine level. And organizations are like living organisms. So they are always living. They react differently. When you put things together, you can never really know 100% how they will be reacting to each other, and that's the beauty of transformations. So think about that, and think about each person who is participating in the transformation, what kind of psychological challenges this person has to go through. So which are the psychological challenges, and how are you able to help them get through it as a project leader? And I think that is so key to keep in mind at all times, so that you can support the team to really step up and level up until the end due to internet connectivity issues. Wonderful inputs. I really like the fact that you talked so much, emphasized about the agile movement and the increasing number of agile methods that are being adopted, and that how it has transformed the project management landscape. I also liked all the discussion on the functionalities of the tools and how the role of PM will survive in future. So with that, I'm going to wind up this session. So thank you, and we are going to move to the next session, which will be a presentation from Simona. So thank you, Elvira. Bye, and I'll disconnect. Yeah, and we'll have Simona connecting soon.
Thank you both for getting me on stage. It was a wonderful presentation or panel discussion in the beginning. Thank you for the word, Mithun. I'd like to discuss or introduce a small change in the program. So right now we're supposed to have one case study, which we decided, thanks to unforeseen circumstances, we cannot go with this case study, but instead we are going to demonstrate the new community platform for you, so you see what's in it. And then instead of the networking break at 3, we are going to invite Loic with his case study, Making Digitalization Happen, Application of Virtual Reality in Quality Management, which is a super exciting topic. So we are also changing the schedule as we speak. Everything should be updated in this whole reception field. And without further ado, I'd like to jump straight to the community platform. So thank you. Mithun, yes, you already disconnected. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it's going to work. let me just do this. So, share the screen. A little inception time. So, what we are doing, as I mentioned, we are launching this new community platform called PPM Workout for you to become strong, resilient, and agile in the approach to how you do business. It's about interacting with others, staying on top of the game, with finding out more and more information about what's happening in other companies than yours. Maybe you're working for a small biotech and you don't know how big pharma works. That's why you're also here in this conference. And maybe vice versa. Maybe you're working for big pharma and you can get inspired by the work of smaller companies. So that's why we developed this platform, to grow your impact and for the whole community to connect. You can expect topics such as stakeholder engagement, sponsor alignment, resource capacity management, risk mitigation, agile methodology, PPM tools, digitalization, which we are discussing in great detail today, then decision analysis, change management, strategy implementation, news in pharmaceutical, and of course, the conferences and events that you can attend. Those are only the topics in the beginning. We're launching just now. It's been live for 1.5 weeks now, so it's still just starting, but I'm very pleased to see that the whole community is interacting already. So what you can imagine with this platform is it's like social media designed specifically for the niche of portfolio project and program managers in pharmaceutical and healthcare industries. So like any other social media network, you can share a post or you can expand to an article which serves something like your blog post, where you can play around with formatting or add pictures, videos, links, whatever you feel called to. Of course, below every single article, you can comment and interact. Then you can share pictures, videos, links, decks. I will show you how those look like, because we are also uploading the presentation slides from the conferences in the specifically designed channels. And then this is a very cool feature called questions, which allows for different visual appearance of the question than any other posts. It can be either question, multiple choice, hot or cold. If you're evaluating an idea, whether it's worth pursuing or not, you can ask the community, what do you think about this? Is it yes or is it no? Or you can ask for a percentage. With every single post, you have to select a topic. Why is it so? There's no algorithm. You are the curator of your own feed, of your own wall, meaning that like I want to post something about my use of Excel sheets for project management. So I will just select PPM tools and then post the topic in there. Every single user can select which topics to follow, which was in this area, which I showed you in the beginning. And then whatever you're interested in will show up on your wall. What you're not interested in, you won't see. So the same applies for the users. When you've got, I think I'm going to just show me, okay. You can see my profile, my introduction, the topics that I follow, and my colleague Martine, whose account I'm using right now, he's following me. So you can follow or unfollow people as well. What we're going to do with this platform is that we're going to run daily webinars. It's going to be 20 to 30 minutes, different formats. It can be a panel discussion, it can be a keynote, it can be a Q&A with different experts in the field. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you have any suggestions of what topic you're curious about, you can just shoot me a message and we'll make it happen. So those webinars will happen every single day, Monday till Thursday at 4 p.m. Central European Time. This way, it doesn't take you so much time, and it can be packed with information that are valuable for your work. So how is this platform used? Important thing to say, if you didn't have a chance to attend any of the sessions from the program, you can access the recordings in this platform only. We are creating secret links that are available only to the members of this community. So here you can already see the recordings of London are going to be found here. I'll explain more how to get there. This, of course, I suggested to the community to join the event by providing a link to sign to the conference free of charge, because every virtual event organized by Y Summit is free of charge for every single member of PPM workout community. This is how the webinars look like. It's very simple and straightforward. You see when it's happening, you get a link. Usually we are going to be running the webinars through Zoom. So you'll get a simple Zoom link and you can RSVP here and later add it to the calendar, whether it's Google, Apple, Outlook, or you can download it and sync with any other calendar of your choice. So this is how the questions look like. I've noticed that there were some discussions on what tools to use and how to implement them. So I was thinking, why not to ask, since the members were not really asking. I posted, and suddenly we already had reaction from the members. They were sharing their ideas, what they're using with the links and their experience. So you can learn a lot. There is also an icebreaker question. So when you enter the platform, since it's community-centric, we're going to ask you, what do you want to get from this community? And you can read the responses of everybody else and then check their profile out and maybe connect there, because you can chat with them one-on-one, or you can chat with the entire community. It's very simple, straightforward, and easy to use. You can also see up here a notification bar. You can set the notifications according to your preference. You can even download a mobile app, which is the link is included in the welcome article. And you can set up push notifications in your mobile phone or email notifications, and you decide on how often they're going to be pushed to you. So it's all very custom solution for you on how you decide to use it. One of our members, Mark, he already posted his thoughts on why do we need project management, people interacting, thinking, collaborating on the ideas. Whenever somebody joins the platform, the profile, when you fill in why you're there and something about you, it also appears on the wall. This enhances the collaborative aspect of this whole community. So just come there, fill your profile, and let people know why are you there, what do you want to learn, what's your experience, how you want to grow your impact, and then use it as any other social media. Another question that I'm getting many times is, how is this different from LinkedIn groups? I know that many of you are on LinkedIn and are interacting there, but it's usually just a group and there are no specific features or tools to be asking questions in a visual form, and it's just a forum. This is way more than a forum. It's a social network designed specifically for your needs. you can find all the members in this area. You can filter them by those who are near you. So if you're in the States, you would see all the PPM professionals from the States. Or if you're based in Europe, in India, you name it, it's the same story. You can invite others, of course, very easily. The topics we covered, the events for now, we only have today's event, but we've got one webinar coming up next week and maybe even more. So these will all be featured here. You can RSVP very easily and add it to your calendar, as I mentioned. Another cool feature is professions. When you fill your profile and choose in the drop-down menu, whether you're a portfolio manager, project manager, consultant, business owner, key account manager, or non-for-profit, which is also one of our members, is part of non-for-profit working with pharmaceutical industry. Once they select their title, they can you can find them here and actually see all the project managers at one spot. So it makes it easy for you to find those people who are beneficial for solving your task at hand. And then there are channels. Channels are something like the LinkedIn groups itself. We created a special group for every single conference that we're in because we don't want to overwhelm everybody on the main feed. We want to keep this intimate space of attendees and speakers of individual conferences separate. So, for example, we had a Munich conference where we shared the recordings, asked for feedback. This is the hot or cold analysis, so you can vote on your experience, how you liked it, and you can access also the program, the speakers, and chat with everybody who's part of that group. When it comes to Basel, you will get access to the recordings from today and tomorrow in this channel. So before, when you just join the network, you also have to join the channel to access the recordings, but it's available for everybody who's on the network, so there should be no problem. I already mentioned this chat and this option to interact with each other on one-on-one or group basis. One thing I haven't mentioned is that it's a subscription-based platform. We ask for a very small fee of €9.99 per month or €99 per year. And this fee holds everybody accountable. First of all, it holds us accountable for keeping the content of very high quality and making sure that what we built for the community is extremely valuable. And instead of running full day conferences, we are going to just distribute it throughout the whole year, and you can attend whatever event you want at your own time. And also the recordings of those sessions are going to be saved in a specific channel called webinar recordings. And when you invite more people, you can get also free access to this platform. So there's a way to avoid the fee as well, although it's very small. And if you're still undecided whether this is something for you or not, you can avail of 2 months free trial of this platform. So you can just sign up, be there for 2 months, see whether it's something valuable, whether you can grow your impact, whether you can interact with others, whether there are interesting people. And if you like it, then you just stay there. If you don't, you unsubscribe and you lost nothing. So for every virtual event that we're going to host, of course, the access is free of charge for all the members. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that our sales team will also offer very nice discounts for the master classes to our members. So this is kind of all from my side. I will just mention that since it is a community platform, it's not about us selling anything. It's about us creating a platform for you to connect, because we saw this drawback of in-person conferences where you just come, you network, you chit chat, you exchange LinkedIn, and half a year later you're browsing through your LinkedIn and you have no idea who those people are. And that happens because you've got one interaction and then there's zero other connection. So that's why we found the need or the pain point that if people interact more and more regularly, then it can be more beneficial for all. And yeah, I really believe in the power of this product for you to collaborate, to meet leaders, to inspire each other, to share, to learn, to grow together. So this would be it from my side. If you have any other questions, I'm just going to drop my email in the chat box as I speak, and you can email me with any questions, or you can ask questions in the chat right now while I'm still on stage. Or you can email me later on also with your suggestions of what topics would you like to hear, what pressing problems you've got on table that you'd like us to, maybe compile a panel for you to discuss the problem. So there are plenty of opportunities, but it's community-based, and we are just providing the tool, and you're the one who's running it. So your platform, your rules, we just created the tool, and now it's up to you. So thank you so much, and we'll be up in 3 minutes already. So I spoke way longer than I intended to, but in 3 minutes, we're going to have like on stage with his case study, making digitalization happen. So a lot of tech talk, and I'm very excited to have this. So Nathan, I don't know if you have anything or whether we can go backstage.
Yeah, I think we should go backstage, and we'll be back in exactly 2 minutes with Lloyd. So thank you, Simona, and see you everyone in a minute.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.